Hey folks, and welcome to another video from aplaintruth.info and questioning to everything to find truth. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, Charles Darwin said, nor the most intelligent that survives. It's the one that is the most adaptable to change. And we are in significant changing times right now. I want to get into college. Why college? If this video helps just one person rethink going into massive debt, putting their futures mortgaged. Mortgage means death pledge, and massive debt all over the place. Yet college students are racking up the most. 67% of college grads don't even have jobs when they get out of school, and they're having to post online that they have to work 3 minimum jobs. They have master's degrees, and they still can't get jobs, while a quarter of college grads are overqualified. And they're having to take drugs to get themselves through classes by popping pills. They're taking Ritalin, Adderall, and Bifenase, are stimulants frequently prescribed to treat the diagnosis. And here we see the brain on Adderall versus a normal brain. So it's clearly altering the states of students just trying to compete in this crazy world. And now we have a new term called the snowflake disability. Snowflake disability is caused by elite colleges where up to 1 in 4 students are classified as disabled simply because they experience stress and anxiety, and they're given special accommodations. This can sometimes mean given twice as long to take their exams if they're deemed that way. Disabled classifications have skyrocketed in recent years. Doctors note necessary is only. It's not only going on in public schools, but also in private universities. Pomona University, for instance, 5% of students fell in the category. Now 22% are deemed disabled. So let's get a little more into the college student life that are being professionally and purposely dumbed, drugged, and indebted for life. Noam Chomsky stated, "Students who acquire large debts, putting themselves through school, are unlikely to think about changing society. When you trap people in a system of debt, they can't afford the time to think. Tuition fees increase our disciplinary techniques, and by the time students graduate, they are not only loaded with debt, but also have internalized the disciplinarian culture. This makes them efficient components of the consumer economy." And also by the drugs. The big pharma benefits from having everything in drugs. I can't tell you how many people I know are on antidepressants. And look at the cost of college tuition compared to everything else, which we'll get into in a minute. But just over a third of adults have 4-year college degrees. In a report released, 33.4% of Americans had a bachelor degree, a sharp increase from 28% a decade ago. A quarter of American adults have a high school, another 21% bachelor's degrees, 9.3% have a master's degree, and 2% have doctorate degrees. Yet students today are having to resort to going on food stamps just to exist and survive. In addition, we have all these new terms. Another new one is boomerang kids. When graduation means moving back home, and this is referring to the millennial, Generation Y, Echo Boomers, digital natives, tightrope generation, next generation, Generation Me, the boomerang generation. Some students will be moving back in. One survey suggests 85% of college seniors expect to move back home, at least for a time, and found that in 2016, 63% of millennials actually do move home after graduation. Now let's take a look at this very important chart. Now this is a very important chart. It's a 6-year outcome of institutions, and we see on the left-hand column in a 4-year public school, in 4 years, less than 50% graduate and completed at that started the institution. And then we see all the way up at the top in the green, the 4-year public school, they weren't enrolled. That's 20% did not finish. And that after 6 years, 14.5% were still enrolled, which means that 35% of students are still enrolled in college or are not going to college anymore in a 6-year time period. Also, private schools a little bit less, but for 4-year private for profit, 50% do not finish. 2-year public schools, 40% do not finish. For-profit, nonprofit, 37% do not finish. Why send them to college if they're not going to finish and rack up massive debt? As college costs continue to increase and put pressure as people mortgage their homes and try and save massive amounts of money to afford colleges that just keep going up and up, while at the same time having to compete with much more educated students coming in from abroad, from China and from India and other countries, being educated in U.S. universities, which our taxpayer dollars subsidize. And here come the brainiacs over to take over our jobs, as these E5 and E6 visa programs are bringing foreigners in for residency status, as I documented earlier. All right, so why did they set up college? Well, for one, schooling is like fish, so we're being schooled like fish, and they cast spells in school. And one of the things very few know about is that the school bell ringing after each period is after the Pavlov dog theory of ring a bell and they will forget or do whatever you want them to do. So ringing a bell, you forget what you learned in the last class. Ring the bell again, you forget again. So why school? Well, it's so you can elementary be gradually graded by degrees until you graduate to get your BS, so you can master the indoctrination process to be doctored with honors, and everybody will honor you. But will there be the jobs you need when you get out? No, because even degrees of masters and indoctrination doctors, there's just like water now, folks. Everyone's getting them. And the Indians and the Chinese are much higher learned students than those in the United States. So where are the jobs going to go? They're going to go to them first, and that's why they're bringing in these E5, E6 visas to bring foreigners in to run the manufacturing and the robots, AI that we're going to get into. But it's all about the debt, folks, getting everybody in debt servitude. We've got student debt, we've got prime loan car debt, we've got mortgage debt, we've got massive debt in this country that you cannot believe, but it's mostly in debt to the students, to the youth. And this debt has never been seen before in the history of education. When I went to a junior college, it was maybe $500 a semester for a community college in California, or basically free. And today it's ridiculous how much they have to borrow, how much debt they have to go into to get a college degree that doesn't give you anything. It doesn't do anything for most of us who get college degrees anymore, because they're like water, they're like paper, and it's increasing with everybody saying they got to go to college and forcing us into this one-shot future for all. But it gets worse than that when we take a look at the numbers of what's happening overall. And it's not just student debt, it's debt of all kinds. Inflation adjusted for homes grow 83% between 1970 and 2000. Between 87 and 2017, inflation adjusted cost of attending four-year college more than tripled. This goes on across the board as costs keep increasing. Another little trick of Wall Street is how they measure the CPI index, which measures inflation. Oh, they just decide to leave out the cost of food and energy when they're figuring out their core inflation to do it, that sets the COLA and sets the adjustment standards for everybody, how they get paid. But it also is meaning that more and more people in this country have to rent because they cannot afford homes and new homes, if they're all being bought up by Chinese, by outside interest in large tranches. And what do you want to send your kid to college for, folks? What are they going to get a degree on? Are they going to get a Monsanto degree from Iowa University? Are they going to get a British Petroleum degree for that give $500 million to UC Berkeley? Or are they going to get a degree in geoengineering because they can keep spraying us like bugs and get more technical about how they control all our environments, use touchless torture and wireless microwaves to torture us and mind control us through their geoengineering? And look at all these colleges, all the top universities giving degrees in geoengineering, how to manipulate our weather. All right, it goes on and on. So why do you want to send your kid to college? Keep asking yourself that. And you see this chart right here, people graduating, expecting to get jobs after, is declining. There's less jobs being offered after getting their graduate degrees, even though they're graduating. But look at the pay scale. They're paying absolute minimum wage to the adjunct professors that have PhDs and masters that try and help teach, while the professors make obscene amounts of money. The college professors being paid in the millions, and then they get bonuses on top of that, and also some stock. Remember, colleges, universities are private corporations. They make shitloads of money. But look at the highest paid. Why do you want to send them to college when the highest paid universities are football coaches, basketball coaches, and plastic surgeons? Please look at this chart, folks. What are we promoting with our colleges and universities? We are promoting sports, bread, and circuses. And the universities make big bucks from all the television contracts, all the corporate sponsors, but none of them goes to the student athletes. None of them goes to help the students finance their colleges or anything, while teachers in the school universities and public are having to beg for funding. High school teachers are going on strike across the country, having to take Fridays off to work at Kmart just so they can afford to live, while UC Regent President Jesuit Janet Napolitano, former Department of Homeland Security, is literally stealing funds from the University of California. But look at this payout of CEOs in this country, folks, 475 to 1. They make 475 times more money than their average worker underneath them. Is this fair? Is this just? Is it free? No, it's called capitalism. And those that have the capital are capitalizing on those that don't by putting them into massive debt servitude while they're making huge, massive, big bank money. But none more than Google, or Google, who made $8.3 billion in one day on their stock advancements. All right, what's the future? The future is artificial intelligence. It's not just me saying this. It's the guys that are running the show are saying it. Are humans even needed indeed as artificial intelligence takes over? So this I gleaned from Larry Page's 10-year anniversary of Google, his future determination of the future. He says that his vision is that Google's products and services will become the control center of people's lives. The company's driverless cars, autonomous cars, we're already seeing, will chauffeur people around safer roads and deliver goods within hours of an online order. You see Amazon and Safeway online ordering. People won't even have to bother to leave their homes, which will be made more comfortable and enjoyable through the use of smart appliances. See 5G, folks. And they can't live in homes, they'll be living in stack and pack 'em Agenda 21s. Robots will handle tedious chores and other jobs, freeing up time to enjoy their lives, prolonged by health management tools and disease-fighting breakthroughs engineered by Google. And then the internet-connected eyewear, watches, etc. will supplement the smartphones and ensure Google is a constant companion capable of anticipating questions and desires. See transhumanism. But it's artificial intelligence that will be taking over. And here's another quote from Google. In the first ever letter, CEO Sundar Pichai says the next wave of computing is all about machine learning. Looking into the future, he says the next step will be for the very concept of the device to fade away. Over time, the computer itself, with an intelligent assistant helping you through the day, will move from mobile first to an artificial intelligence first world. Buzz about AI is pretty loud in Silicon Valley. Facebook set up a new applied machine learning group with making advancements. Zuckerberg's company, along with others such as Microsoft, are investing big in chatbots, software that answer questions and perform simple tasks like making a calendar appointment for you. Talk about Alexa, Nest, and the rest of these home invasion devices, and there you go. This was back in 2014, and we're seeing the rollout today. So again, following the leaders to understand where they're taking us or trying to take us. This was a recent commencement speech by Zuckerberg at Harvard University, July 7, 2017. Quote, "Our generation will have to deal with tens of millions of jobs replaced by automation like self-driving cars and trucks. When our parents graduated, purpose reliably came from your job, your church, your community. But today, technology and automation are eliminating many jobs. Membership in communities is declining. Many people feel disconnected and depressed and are trying to fill a void through drugs." Gates said also, quote, "I just want to say one word to you, just one word, plastics. And today that word will likely be robots." Gates took his 34.8 million Twitter followers by the virtual shoulder and said artificial intelligence, or AI, would have a huge impact. In other words, they are changing the world and AI will be taking over our jobs. Capitalizing. They are telling you they will not be the jobs there for you graduating, you listening here that are students or thinking about going to college. Look at the jobs they're predicting: accountants, auditors, elementary school teachers, analysts, but secondary school teachers, while they're using facial recognition, mandatory vaccines, and other controls like Wi-Fi laptops that are set right on your lap, which have been proven to show infertility being caused because they put the radiated Wi-Fi receiver and sender right at the base, as you can see here from this picture, right where it goes in your lap, right at your reproductive organs as well. This is not by accident, and this is one of the many reasons that sperm in males has been dropping precipitously over the past few years. Now, it's not only the Wi-Fi's, but it's also the food. We have spermicide from Monsanto that comes from the Epicite company that they bought in corn that's also causing mass fertility. But computers, radiation, Wi-Fi radiation is causing mass sickness, and our children are the guinea pigs and the lab rats while they become addicted to the flicker rates and the screens on the computers, and parents have lost control of their children. It's an epidemic, and there's not much many can do about it. Or maybe you just allow your children to keep going down the rabbit hole into the computers and become a game programmer, as they're now making mandatory and offering gaming programs where they're making tens of millions of dollars providing games on the internet like Minecraft, while the Supreme Court striking down labor rights to make way for more of the industrial corporation that has been taking over. And then there's Mr. Jeff Bezos, who owns the Washington Post and Amazon, paying absolute minimum wage to his employees. We're up in Seattle. They just recently had to take money out of Amazon to provide for the homeless that are in the streets as a direct result. So we're being run by the major corporations. There's just one that rules all now for the most part: Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. You know them all. They're all in our homes. Invasive species indeed. But what are the solutions, folks? The solutions is first to become the author of your own authority. And as Bucky Fuller said, create something better. You never change by fighting the existing reality. Build a model that makes the existing model obsolete. Aaron Swartz, be curious, think widely, try new things, wake up, research, learn what it's really about. Out here, you can be a plumber and be making $85,000 a year, and you don't even need to learn that much. Just become an apprentice. You can grow your own food and become self-sufficient and self-reliant. You can get into the medical marijuana business now and start healing people. This has been hidden since 1934, that marijuana is medicine. But you can take back the power in small, simple ways by going in your backyard or wherever you can and growing food and knowing your sources of water or supporting your own farmers. The other option is to think about how much you'd be spending for your 4 or 6 years of college, running up massive debt. What other things could you be using the money for? Could you be starting your own business? Can you be doing well by doing good and helping others and still make it get by? Can you be helping the homeless with this money instead? Can you be doing service to others in your community? Because it's all about community. This is not going to change on a government level. The government is not your friend. The corporation of the United States is called Washington, D.C. The CEO is called Donald Trump, and the corporate papers are based in Puerto Rico, and they're owned by the City of London, the corporate papers. The United States of America, capital letters, federal government, is a corporation. So we must turn away from the existing reality and create something new and better. We can get back to literally our roots. Back in 1900, the United States, 44% of this country were farmers. 22% of their income was spent on food, and it was before the word organic was created, because all food was organic. Now they won't even tell you what's in our food, and it's no wonder there's such child obesity in this country. There's no wonder autism, asthma, ADHD, and allergies are at an all-time high in children. We need to get back to our roots. We need to get back to the common unity of our communities of people we can look, touch, and feel. All right, so hopefully this gives you some ideas. If there's one person to stop and think about getting into massive debt to go to college, I think I've achieved my goal here. But please reconsider college, seriously. Why college? All right, there's a plain truth out, questioning everything to find truth. Love one another, peace, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for listening.